Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video, I gotta talk about some controversy because who doesn't love a little bit of controversy? I'm here to talk about Netflix's Cleopatra. Cleopatra, everyone should know about the historic icon that is Cleopatra. Everyone knows all about the Elizabeth Taylor movie that came out decades ago. One of the longest movies and one of the biggest movies of that time, with the budget and just the sheer scope and size of it, despite it being very historically inaccurate. It's always been like the staple of what the Cleopatra story is, and Netflix wanted to make a docu-series, pretty much a documentary, but also have a lot of reenactments with actors and stuff. They wanted to do a whole docu-series all about Cleopatra, and I think that's a great idea. I think we don't get enough documentaries about Cleopatra. I think that's solid. Then the trailers came out, and we all saw what they did. And they're incredibly historically inaccurate about what Cleopatra is, what she did, and especially what she looks like. Everybody knows Cleopatra was born in Greece and stuff, and this docu-series, is not even really about Cleopatra. It's all about race. This series is all about how they're trying to tell the audience and prove to the audience that Cleopatra was a black woman. She wasn't white. We all know she wasn't Elizabeth Taylor looking. Obviously she wasn't. She obviously had darker skin. But she also wasn't black either. That is historically inaccurate, and a lot of Egyptian historians have explained that. And this movie's even getting sued by a lot of Egyptian historians because they're saying this series, is completely and blatantly wrong, and it's insulting to Egypt and to Cleopatra and a lot of people that this thing exists, and that they're trying to pass it off as historically accurate. When the movie came out, Cleopatra, it was a very controversial movie because that movie was banned in Egypt because people said that's not what Cleopatra looks like. And representation does mean something when you're telling a real story. Like, if you're telling a biopic about a real person, you need to get the race and gender, the look, all right. Or if you don't, it's insulting to that person's memory. Like, you can't make an Abraham Lincoln movie and make Abraham Lincoln native. Like, you can't make a Malcolm X movie and make him white. Like, that's inaccurate and disrespectful. So, when you're making a Cleopatra docuseries and she's black and she is not, that's wrong and insulting. And yeah, a lot of people in Egypt, a lot of historians are just like, what the fuck is this series? So I watched just the first 2 episodes because that's all I can take of it. I want to see how bad it is because this is a failure on all counts. Like, look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. It's like 10, 11%, 1%, 2%, I think, on audience score. This is fucking hated by everybody. This is like Velma. It's hated, and for good reason. It's insulting and very racist. Like, it's a pretty racist documentary, and the fact that it's trying to pass it off as this thing that's supposed to be empowering, and like the whole series is just about Cleopatra's black, and the only thing that destroyed Egypt during this time were the white people. And I'm like, what? That's not entirely correct at all. Like, what? And they got Adele James to play Cleopatra, and she has been very vocal, saying, like, if you don't support this series, you're part of the problem, and you are indeed a racist. I'm like, wait, what? And a lot of the creators and supporters of this series are defending this show, and Jada Pinkett Smith, the producer, they're all saying this is facts. This is facts. And like one person's like, well, if you could support the Mummy movies, you could support this. I'm like, wait. The Mummy movies? The Mummy movies are fantasy movies. They're not historically accurate. They're not biopics. They're not documentaries. They're fantasy. They're work of fiction. What the fuck are you talking about? This is an actual docuseries about a real life person, you morons. It's just like, I don't know. And like even the documentary, like it's a very one-sided documentary. Like it's just these people saying, yeah, this is what Cleopatra did. This is what she is. This is who she is. Yeah, that's it. 100% facts. Don't agree? You're part of the problem. Fuck you. Like that's like how this documentary is. I'm like, wait, well, what kind of docuseries is this? I've never watched a series like so one-sided and so just repulsive. Like there's this lady, she's like, I don't care what people say and what history says. My mom always said Cleopatra is black, so that's what she is. I'm like, well, if your mom said it, then that's got to be true. Fuck the the history books and all the Egyptians out there and all the mythologies and all the stories and everything. Fuck all that. Your mom said that, so that's true. I'm like, fucking crazy. I'm loving that it's a failure. I'm loving that people are not supporting something that is very, I would say misguided, but that's an understatement. Just flat out stupid. And the fact that they're calling this history and they're calling this facts is fucking wrong. And after 2 episodes, I just couldn't stand it and stomach it. Like, I get, like, people always talk about the Elizabeth Taylor movie. Like, well, if that exists, then this could exist. I'm like, no. The Elizabeth Taylor movie is not even a fiction. It is like a fictional kind of movie. But I do agree. Yes, they probably should have gotten someone more representative to play Cleopatra. But you're doing the same thing as that movie, though, because you're not being realistic and you're not representing Cleopatra who she was. You're being just as more dishonest as the Cleopatra movie. Because the Cleopatra movie is a movie. This is supposed to be facts. It's a documentary. It's supposed to be telling the real story. And it is wrong on a lot of fucking things. So, yeah, it's disgusting. But it's failing. And I love to see it. I'm just kidding. But you need proper representation when you're talking about real life people and you're telling their real life stories. That's all I'm saying. Seriously. And I've seen movies in the past few years, them making biopics about real people and they're changing like their race and their culture, and that's wrong, and they need to stop doing that. Like, seriously, they need to stop doing that. And it's getting really, really fucked up. And it started with the whitewashing, and now there's the diversity thing they're doing now, and it's always existed, but they need to stop that. Yes, acting is acting. When you're playing in certain roles, it is acting, of course. And I get that. It's just when it's something real and historic and something that's supposed to be real and supposed to be accurate, that matters. And yeah, I think y'all know where I'm going with. I'm trying not to say certain words to piss people off, because I'm not trying to piss people off. I just want real stories told in realistic ways and showing respect to history. Because, yeah, history is history. That's why I didn't like The Woman King. That was not a respect to history. That was very inaccurate of what they were depicting. And yes, other movies have done it too. 100%. Like 300 is not at all accurate. But that movie, look at the way it looks. It's supposed to look like a graphic novel. It's supposed to look very fantasy-like. So I can forgive it a little more because it's obviously when you look at it, that's a fantasy story. But The Woman King was supposed to be like this, like, historic masterpiece. And of course, Braveheart too. Braveheart's very inaccurate too. But whatever. Just be more respectful, Hollywood. I know you're trying so hard to show that you're like, oh, look how progressive we are. You're being so progressive, you're actually going backwards. You think you're going forwards, but you're going backwards. So, yeah, don't watch this series. Don't watch this documentary series. Don't support it because it's very disgusting. It's very hateful. And it's an insult to all Egyptians out there. So, yeah, fuck this series. Join the dark side.